There you go.
Yeah. I mean, we're guaranteeing the future of the oblates by.
For training.
We're
Yeah.
training other oblates from
Yeah.
other areas to go back out to where they're from to help in those missions.
They bring the oblates from outside, from India, from Zambia, from all over the world, come to Oblate School of Theology and do some studies.
Well, that's something no one else could say, is that other people may be training them, but no one else is training through the Oblate School of Theology, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's true.
Is that as a result of donor support, or is it congregational support that provides that?
Yeah, I mean, they're spending their own dollars, they spend about $4 million
Yeah, I think-
in Zambia a year.
Yeah,
so,
right.
So
most
we
of
can
that
combine
is
them when we get there.
education.
It's donor support that allows for
Yeah.
the training of these priests. Okay.
Well, the seminaries are just like the oblates, they're a little more open and inclusive, so they'll, oblates have accepted men that are a little older than some of the others, and so they've got people from the US and Canada and Zambia and India all studying together and learning from each other. I think, don't they even have a couple guys from other orders studying there too?
You don't have to be an oblate to go out.
Yeah, it's open to anybody.
Again, a little more.
The seminary itself is just totally.
Yeah, the seminaries.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to say that you're training priests.
Yeah.
It's not just that you're training oblates, you're training priests,
Right.
because that's what the lay person would connect with. It's what we pray for every week.
I think we have a good, I'm going to go ahead and cut us off, number one, because of time, but also because the more of these that we get, the longer that's going to take in the second half. I think we have some good ones. We may, like I said, some of these will become evidentials. We may combine some of these. We may actually strengthen some of these and say, hey, that wasn't a very good way to say that. Let's try to find a better way to make it clearer. So we're going to take about a 15-minute break. And in this time, Courtney will need to interface with somebody to get copies of these printed for everyone in the room, because we're going to actually go ahead and score them. We'll just put pressure on people to fill these out quickly. What we're going to do is we're going to go through and rate each one of these claims on two factors. Appeal, does this appeal to who we believe our ideal donor to be? And two, exclusivity. Can other organizations say this as well? And we're going to do it on a 1 to 5 scale, 5 being the most appealing and most exclusive, and 1 being not very appealing, not very exclusive. So each value claim, we'll go around the room in order, and we'll do this multiple times for each one. We'll say 1-5 or 2-4 or 3-3 or whatever your two answers are, which will give a score. Like I said, again, 5 being the tops. So 5 is highly appealing, and 5 is highly exclusive, and 1 is not appealing at all, and 1 is not very exclusive.
To your ideal donor.
Yeah, 1, 2,
So
3, 4,
put yourself
5.
in the mind of somebody that is Catholic, somebody above 50 most likely, that kind of.
So not necessarily our current donor, our ideal donor.
Well, your current donors are your ideal donors, but like you can think of it in multiple segments and address it. Well, this may not appeal to our 75-year-olds. Would be 50, so it would be the high 5.
Is it triennial donor or?
It's broad-based donor for the most part, but at the same time, the reason, in theory, the reason your major donors give should be and is likely the same reason your broad-based is.
We're rating this 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest.
Courtney is limbering up her fingers, and she's going to take down, we have a spreadsheet that we log all these in. So she's going to take down everyone's numbers. So we're going to start with Mike and go all the way around, and we will jump to Sarah, is that your name? After Bill, so we'll go Bill.
Oh, wait, no.
No,
We have a plan, Jeff. Sorry,
You're
Bill,
going around
Kate,
the plan.
Sarah,
Kate, and
and
Sarah.
then Mike.
Okay.
Sorry, I have you all ordered. We can't get this.
Yes,
Way to
yes,
go.
I have you in.
Way to go, good. So our first claim of value, so all you need to do is read out your two numbers, do it a little slowly to save her joints and tendons. So when I say, we give you the best good giving experience, you might say 3, 2. Great, we're on a roll.
3-2. 1-1.
1-1.
Harsh.
What's the?
One's the lowest,
One.
five's the
Right, you got
highest.
the
Oh.
appeal.
Oh, you're on the appeal, on the first appeal.
On the first one.
Good given experience.
I only filled out the appeal part so far.
Okay.
3.
Okay.
2-2.
4-3.
5-2. 3-2.
4-1.
2-2.
2-1.
All right, so I'm gonna take, Bill, you gave it a 4 on appeal, and some folks over here gave it a 1. I think there was a whole string of them. Why did you feel like it was very appealing? Why did you not feel like it was very appealing?
What's a good giving
That's
experience?
what, I think that's what I kind of.
Well, I think in comparison with other organizations I'm referring to, I think we do a pretty good job of thanking our donors, especially when they reach their level.
Gotcha.
Well, I think we do too, but I don't
Yeah.
know that translates into anything that, I mean, if I read it as an outside person, I'm like, I don't know what good giving experience means.
Yeah, I had a 1 originally, but then changed it to 4, because, yeah, you want a good experience, what are the estimates are relevant, you want that, so the appeal's there, but then exclusivity is
It's important.
non-existent.
All right, let's keep moving on, because I think some of these will come out in the wash in terms of like aggregates. Your support makes a life-saving difference. Mike? 3, 2. That sounds like your last answer.
3-2. 5-2.
All right.
Uh-oh. I did bad. 1-1. That was.
3-2.
4-3.
5-5.
4-3.
5-4.
3-2.
3-1.
3-2.
2-1.
All right, Michelle, 2-1. Is it a 5-4? Did I hear a 5-4? 5-2?
Yeah, that's mine, yeah.
Okay, why did you feel like it was low, and why did you feel like it was high?
To me, it's just a little general.
Okay.
I think almost all nonprofits have some sort of life-saving difference, and I don't feel, I mean, the Oblates are a little more humble. They're not really, they're not going in there fixing emergencies necessarily.
Kate, tell us why that was highly ranked. There's no wrong answers. What we're trying to do by starting these little jousts, if you will, is try to get clarity on them by talking it out and hearing. Because I think sometimes we'll hit on something where it's not the way it's expressed on the page. Tell us about that.
I think they do make life-saving differences, and I would put, as far as donating for certain causes, life savings to me would probably be at the very top. You can donate to like a ton of different things that don't necessarily save or completely change somebody's life, and I think that they do that.
I have a question. So when I read this, and we wrote it verbatim, for a reason. When I read this, life-saving, I guess you can read that a couple of ways, right? In some ways, you might say that people who can't eat are going to be able to sit through a mass. So there is some actual life-saving there that's going on. But there's also like, it has an eternal impact too, right? Like some of the stuff, and I don't know, if that may be a thinner slice. I'm not sure if we want to go down that road or say something like that, but there's something to, it goes beyond just one person's.
I mean, you can
life.
say, I think, life savings, you can say, like you said, food, but you can also say spirituality,
We had
which
the separate.
it, to me, is also kind of top of the list of importance, personally to me.
Uh-huh.
So
Great.
that's why I look at it.
Let's go to the third one. You're the first to go to places that most people don't go, live in community with them.
They also could think of that as pro-life, our donors. That one of those.
Life save, yeah, for sure.
Our donors would read that as pro-life. Next,
Next,
3-3.
3-3.
14. 5-4.
4-3.
Okay. Which one are we on? Number 3.
3-3.
5-3. 5-3.
5-4.
5-4.
3-5.
3-4.
4-4.
3-4.
3-3.
That was interesting. We had a lot of high appeals. Sarah, you gave it high exclusivity.
Yeah, I didn't feel it was necessarily an appeal for a donor, but it is exclusive, I think, to the Oblates and what they do. I don't know if it's necessarily a motivator for people, but I know it's a motivator for the Oblates, and that's what makes them stand out.
I wonder too if the more specific you got about the word places, or at least the more examples of that you provided, that would actually, people might raise their exclusivity scores.
Yeah, for me, it didn't have enough motivation in the statement, but I know that it's a motivating factor.
So number 4, we show communities how to provide for themselves, create self-sufficiency for farming, education, fundraising, skills, entrepreneurship, etc.
4-2. 5-4.
5-4.
5-3.
5-5.
3-3.
5-5.
5-3.
2-4.
Sorry.
You had 5-3.
Yeah.
2-4.
4-4.
5-3.
5-5.
So I think Ken and Bill, we had a 5-5 and a 3-3 right next to each other.
Make sure I got the right phrase. Which phrase are we on here? Make sure.
Number 4?
Go 4-3, 2-3.
Communities
Yeah.
provide
Yeah.
for themselves
Yeah.
self-sufficiency.
Okay.
Ken, what did you have for that?
I think I have a 4, or did I say a 3?
We had 3-3 on
I had
that.
3-3, okay, 3-3. I would probably rate that higher at a 4 if I said it again. but-
4-3. You
Yeah.
did.
You, and that's worth noting, you can change, after we have these discussions, you can change your decisions. Like, I
Yeah.
want it to be, after we add clarity to reflect that
Okay,
change.
okay.
If we had clarity restated,
How
like these
about
aren't.
5? Can we get to 5?
Sure. What's it worth to you?
I think
How about a bagel?
So
Right.
generally what I heard was that was highly appealing, but there may not be a lot of exclusivity. Is there a way that we can phrase that might increase exclusivity?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I would need more knowledge of what the other organizations are doing to make that claim.
Well, here's a question I can ask. Are there other Catholic mission
I would say
organizations?
add the word Catholic into it, I think it
Yeah.
becomes very exclusive.
Because you might look at like, Feed the Children or some sort of
Yeah.
sustainable
Right.
development, Oxfam.
But I don't know if those folks do what the outlets do. I don't really think so.
Okay.
Maybe some do, I don't know.
Dennis?
One of the things that some of our major donors will talk about is that they know the history, that what we've done in the Philippines by going over there, preaching, but setting up seminaries, and now it's self-sustaining. We're doing the same with Zambia right now. We're looking at possibly La Marina the same way. A donor just last week said one of the reasons she likes, Mary Gallup, said the reason she likes giving to us is because she goes to a lot of places, they just take the money, they keep like giving people fish. We're teaching them how to fish. We're teaching them arts and crafts, how to make a living.
Did you say Gallo?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And that is the
Whatever.
Gallo wine family, by the way.
She's mirrored into it, yeah.
If I was gonna rank
Donors are
mine,
feeding back to us why this is important to them.
if I was gonna rank mine higher, it'd be because if people understood the context of the depravity of where the oblates are, and nothingness and hopelessness, then helping these community help themselves is almost a miracle.
Well, they do that in so many ways, because it makes me think, I don't know if anybody's seen that, I've seen commercials for, there's Susan Sarandon in that thing where they give you a goat so you can feed yourself and, do that kind of thing.
Ever international.
Yeah, that's what it is, and, which is healing, but the oblates provide kind of stuff like that, but then also spiritual and other ways they keep on giving as well.
Sydney, you gave it 5, right?
I gave a 5 for appeal and 4 for exclusivity, but my 4 was based on thinking of all other faiths, not just Catholic.
Yeah, so if we can add that, yeah.
Right.
Cool.
I want to reread, I made edits to mine as we went through it. So we go and we show the poorest communities around the world how to provide for themselves, creating self-sufficiency through Catholic outreach. And so we accomplish not only the poor communities, but also the Catholic outreach aspect.
Yeah, we put it together.
All right, number 5, we train and recruit priests in the locations being served to bring the faith to their community. So there's a little differentiator here. We talked about training the next generation of priests in the last one, the Oblates School of Theology. This it kind of goes in line with the last one. We're not only teaching people to fish, we're teaching them to actually do this work. So anyone needs to adjust their answers based on that if it wasn't clear. Feel free to, but Mike, you want to start us off?
3-2. 4-3.
4-4.
3-4, 3-3.
Yeah, I'm switching around. I'm gonna go 3-5.
I went 5-4.
3-3. 4-4.
3-4.
4-2.
4-4.
So Scott, give it a 2 on exclusivity, is that right?
Yeah.
And Ken, you gave it a 5. I'm curious about the difference, because there may be a different understanding of groups.
Yeah.
Why did that strike you as not very exclusive?
Just didn't seem like we're really the only ones doing it. I'm sure there are other organizations out there that are doing the same thing, so it's not exclusive to just us.
Sure. Oh, it was quite exclusive.
Yeah, it's my, as I'm going through these claims and thinking through the longevity part, to use example of Zambia, okay? A lot of missionaries been there before, Capuchins, Irish, lots of people, lots of money, and the Oblates lived there 25 years ago in Zambia. And through their, in 25 years, it's a miracle case history that's considered among not just Oblates, but missionaries that, my God, this mission was up and running in 25 years in depravity and violence and obvious ignorance. And in 25 years, the Oblates not only built a community to take care of themselves, but they actually now are providing their own missionaries, and that they are preaching the good news of Jesus Christ, which is a life-changing event. I mean, from seeing the way they were in 1984 to where they were in 2009.
They started with 3 guys.
I mean, and
3
people,
and went to 90 missionaries.
right, and people died. So I think that's.
So yeah, wrapped up in all that context, I think that's
in
very.
terms of, so the claim itself is one thing on the surface, but the donors may initially think, oh, that's a 3. But as they get to know us more and the message, they're like, shit, this is different.
Yeah.
So that's how simple it was for me to go from a 3.
Write that down.
Okay, so from a 3, as an appeal to the donor, it's like, yeah, okay, fine, yeah, I like you guys, you know, you can spell your name, it's 5 letters, okay? So then 25, like, oh, geez.
It's like a multiplicative
Yeah, yeah,
effect, right?
yeah, because if you believe that prayer does change lives and the good news of Jesus Christ makes a difference, we're teaching them how to bring their own leadership up.
And it's not just providing jobs, because I think some people can look at it and say, oh, well, they didn't have job opportunities, so they went into the priesthood. And it's more than that. I think it's.
That's what the missionaries, that's how the Albates see themselves as missionaries. And then they go on to the next place, and they do the same thing.
And they were actually asked by the diocese to go to Zambia because the Capuchins couldn't.
Yeah, they died out. And not because they were martyrs, they just didn't have enough of them.
Yeah.
It's also worth pointing out, you'd mentioned the growth from 25 years ago to 90 now, but thinking of the actual parishes, how many people have been impacted as a result of.
Yeah, those are just the seminaries.
Yeah, we're thinking in terms of priests because that's what money goes to support, but
Yeah.
the money goes to support the people that are coming to
Yeah.
Christ.
The same thing in the Philippines, from 33, when the 7 Oblates went over and about 2 of them died at the time march, to 34 years later, the Philippines are self-sufficient. In the southern part of the islands, of which are 7,000, and they're Muslim, and the Oblates are worshipped by the Muslim, they send their children to the schools. And so that's life-changing.
That's a good example with the Philippines. It's evidential. People want to give to what you're going to do, not what you've done. But they need to see that you've done it.
Right.
Yeah. So I think.
Philippines shows you've done it. Zambia is why they need to give now.
Right.
Keep
Yeah,
doing
good point.
That's interesting, as somebody who's, I'm thinking about 10 years, but I have only known the U.S. province to support Zambia and Tijuana. I know nothing about the places they've been and supported, and they're now self-sufficient. So I mean, that would be something to be interesting.
Yeah. A little history.
Yeah.
So that's why I did a 3-5.
Yeah, and I think that adds exclusivity when you start talking about past, because there's not too many others like the plus 8.
And they died, and a lot of them were martyred doing it as well.
All right.
Anyone change on that, theirs on that one?
Yeah, with that context, well, I think we can change it. We need to change the. We need to change the claim too.
Come to my side.
Come over to the dark side.
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe it goes back to the one before it too, where you're not only making communities self-sufficient in terms of things like farming and education, but also in terms of Catholic leadership,
Yeah.
right? Would you say that's more exclusive? I mean, obviously, if you guys were replacing a group in Zambia that wasn't able to do that, we train up
And
new
so-
Catholic leaders from the people we serve, right? From the recipients of our mission, I guess.
I mean, and the Catholic, the priests who are Zambian out of that local area then also are picked as bishops for the whole area. So it's not just like with them, the same thing happened in South Texas along Brownsville.
Would anybody, based on that kind of description, anybody change their scores? We can't change them. What would you change to?
I would change it up to a 4.
Okay.
I would probably change mine to a 4-4.
4-4.
Drop down.
Yeah, it's going
I think we've also, we could probably skip well, I'd be interested in your scores on number 6, because number 6 kind of says a similar thing. Our missionaries create missionaries. But let's go to number 5. We build schools for children to bring education to the poor.
And so you're off numbers, I
Is
think.
that 6?
Skip one.
You're skipping,
We just got, we train and recruit priests in the locations being served. Next one up is we build schools for children, right?
Yeah.
So we build schools, that's 6, yeah, we should number this. So we build schools for children to bring education to the poor and underserved. Mike?
3-3.
4-2.
4-3.
5-2.
5-3.
3-3.
4-3.
5-2.
4-4.
4-4.
5-3.
4-2.
3-2.
So really high marks on appeal, low on exclusivity. Is there something we can say to make that more exclusive? I mean, a lot of people
I
go
don't
to
know
schools.
about the exclusivity, but I'm just thinking of all the nonprofits out there.
Yeah.
A lot of people try to do that, you know.
Mhm. So what
Whether
is-
they're effective or not, and their dollars are used wisely, I don't know. I just know that there's probably a lot in the space trying to do the same thing.
Most donors won't either.
Huh?
Most donors won't either.
Yeah.
So it's
So-
hard to be exclusive.
You know, we're exclusive in that we actually say what we do.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
if
the
you want to put
Jesuits.
trust in it, you know, we're more trustworthy.
Well, here's a question for
Yeah,
Ken.
that's a huge
Yeah.
group right there.
Ken, here's a question for you. You mentioned the southern part of the Philippines where Muslims send their children to schools. Why is that? So like, what can we actually isolate about the schools? You're right, there are a lot of folks that are out there building schools, maybe for just secular reasons, because they think people should be more educated, right? But there's something about the schools that Oblate's found that are different. How would you put that in words? Anybody can speak of that.
And this may not be true, evidentiary. My sense was quality education compared to what was available in the local area. And secondly, tolerance.
I wonder too, I don't know this.
Those are my 2 things. I don't know what
maybe
yours
it's
are.
My question is,
Yeah.
are girls given the same opportunities to go to Muslim schools as boys?
Well, I'm not going to use the cultural filters or values at the local, but you just asked me top of the head what I think. It would be, those would be 2. Now, how they got applied to, gender and.
Yeah, for the outlaws
But
there.
my sense was, in the big picture, yes.
No, I know the oblates are, but I'm saying, is that part of the reason that Muslim people are sending, because they want their daughters to have the opportunity to have education the same as their sons? I mean, I don't know if that's a problem there.
I don't know, I can't get into that. I think it's a valid
That's
point.
I mean, that's not
I
what
don't,
we
I don't
do,
know.
so.
It's just that if some Muslim families had that type of value, it would certainly probably have been supported or accepted. But if some Muslim families did not value that gender advancement, then I suspect it didn't happen. But I don't think it was because the oblates wouldn't necessarily have a stance. against
Father
it.
Jesse just talked about, him and the schooling thing, that in Tijuana, how many people bring the kids to schooling and how he's even trying to keep them into school instead of going into the U.S. factories where once they're in there, that's all they're gonna be. They're never gonna go on in life and be able to move forward because they get this much and it's not a very good wage.
$50 a week.
They can't, you know, they can't better their lives, you know, it's very, very dismal.
Similar thing happened in Zambia too. They built the dormitory for the girls because the girls, in order to stay in school, would live on the road. And
That's what I was gonna say, like a safe environment for them to be in throughout the day.
And they were even talking about building a boys' dormitory too. But it's not really, they're not building schools in that particular aspect, but they're continuing education and empowering the people to go to school.
On the exclusivity side of things, this is would the general Catholic American donor equate building schools, providing education to oblates, or do you think they would more naturally go Jesuit with that? And so
That's
that's
more
the only, I'd worry about
university level,
exclusivity on that one, of like you're competing against, I know you have to do it.
Yeah, that's
but-
more university level though. I think that we're talking about more.
But that's more in your face. You know, we see Jesuit school colleges here everywhere.
Yeah, that's,
That's, I mean, that's.
and I get Jesuit is more higher level, but when I think of Catholic education, I think of Jesuit.
Right. Absolutely.
I think in the past, the oblates used to have more to do with education, probably in the 40s and 50s, don't you believe? Like we had St. Henry's School, we had,
There were more schools.
yeah. I don't think that that's the priority.
The Philippine missions is big on schools. It still is. There's still Notre Dame's all over the Philippines that the Oblates run. The difference is there's Muslims and Catholics at those schools. The other schools, either Catholic or Muslim. So that's the difference.
I kind of feel like this ends up getting wrapped up in number 4 more than anything, where it's a part of that aspect of it.
Education, yeah.
Probably broader.
Let's move on to the next one, number 7 there. Our mission, this is one we kind of hinted at number 5, but this may be a clearer way to explain it. So I'd love to compare these two scores. Our missionaries create missionaries.
3-2. 2-2.
3-3.
2-4.
3-3.
4-4.
4-3.
5-3.
We can go 2-2 or 4-4.
It's very different.
No.
It's either very high or very low.
It's one of those
I think it's the
two.
word.
That's right.
You need a composite 3-3.
3-3, yeah.
2-3 is easy.
3-4.
3-3.
So it sounds like for our conversation on number 5, we found a more compelling way to say it,
Yeah.
basically, because everyone, it was kind of middle of the road. So let's go to number 8. We've been spreading the Catholic faith with zeal for more than 200 years.
1-1.
4-2. Really?
Ooh,
2-2.
fire.
Megan Fancy, 1-1.
1-1.
2-5.
3-3.
2-2.
4-4.
3-3.
2-2.
2-3.
4-2. 4-2.
All right, so we had 2 4s, high appeal, and then we had a lot of even 1-1s. Dennis and Scott, can you tell us what y'all pulled out to be highly appealing about that? I don't think it came from one of y'all, did it?
Yeah.
It was yours?
That was the two-mark question.
Cool.
Yeah. To me, that's just appealing. It's been, they've been doing it for so long. But, in the age range of donor or whatever, that would be something that would push me to, consider down.
Because of its credibility?
Because credibility, yeah, credibility is what it is.
I'm sure. Generally, this got lower, some high appeals, but generally lower exclusivity. It's because this has happened for thousands of years. That's how it's correct. Is there a way that, well, we may not want to dwell on this, maybe just move on. I think this actually might be evidential.
More evidentiary.
We've been doing this a long time. We do this, and we've been doing it a long time, so.
Yeah, well, that speaks to, a lot of- if you talk, if it's, that was my rhetorical question, I think that's another session, was if these were rephrased like this, the math of 200 years, you're saying for centuries.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll get it.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, now the Franciscans is 1,000 years.
Yeah, well,
So-
yeah, it's centuries and centuries, give or take.
Yeah.
So,
Next.
It's the work you've been doing it.
Uh,
Catholic Church has been good for a while.
Next up, I would say, instead of they, I said we create long-standing relationships with our oblate priests that span generations.
2-2.
3-2. 2-4.
3-2.
3-3.
3-3.
4-4.
4-4.
4-3.
2-2.
3-3.
3-4.
2-2.
I think that might be an evidential too. You can kind of tell when everyone goes around and get this sing-song tone. They're like 3-3, 3-3, 3-3. There's two tones there. But I think that might be a piece of something. Is that these relationships that our missionaries create last. Number 10, oblates develop trust through personal relationships.
2-1.
4-3. 3-3.
3-3.
2-3.
3-2.
3-2.
5-4.
3-3.
4-4.
2-2.
3-3.
2-2.
4-3.
So Bill and Michelle gave this relatively higher scores. Why do you think this is a higher appeal?
I think a personal relationship is so important for downers these days. And I just think the oblates are more personable than some priests.
Tell me why.
Most of them are a little more casual. I mean, many of them don't dress in the collar and just seem like more just regular people than some orders of priests.
Yeah, it's hard to identify an oblate. He might be the messiest looking guy that they.
You know, with holes in
That's-
their shirts, you know, stuff like that.
So that's kind of an interesting, so I think that may actually work well with what I have known as number 20, not seeking fame or recognition, known for humility. I think there's actually like I think there's something actually, and we can go around and rate this one possibly, but Kevin, there seems to be something very like interesting about that, is that these are, you're of the people that you live with, right? So you go to these communities and you live just like them. You don't go in these
They don't wanna be
communities
treated special.
with the frock and the
Right.
kind of pomp and circumstance.
Yeah.
But
Just the opposite.
you
Yeah.
become like them to reach them, right?
I think Sarah can probably speak to that the best. Whenever she goes to take photographs, she has to take oblate crosses with them, because otherwise there's a picture of a bunch of guys.
don't know
you
which
know
one's
one's
the-
the
Right.
priest.
Yeah,
And then we get back and everybody's like, can you superimpose a cross on it?
Photoshop
Photoshop
that
doesn't
in.
do everything. You know, so.
That's my Halo too.
If we said that in a different way, if we said, developing trust through personal relationships is one thing, but if we said if we become like the people we serve in order to reach them,
No,
would
that'd
anybody
be
change
high.
their scores?
Yes,
Yeah, see that, I would go way up there.
I would go way up too.
Okay, let's,
You also gotta keep in mind, you have the priests that go into the communities and they sense that they have to wear a cassock. You know, you get the opposite where they,
Right.
in order to make a difference in their environment, they feel the need to
that's actually a great online game we're gonna create for you guys. It's called Spot the Oblate.
There's
No
oblate.
superimposed crosses, we're just gonna go through and find them, they're like, oh, they are just like these people, you know, like, what's their shirts? Kevin,
Oh, when
Bill
you see
Beck.
Father Billy or Father Jim.
Yeah, so
dressed,
I'm like the
someone
people we
died.
serve.
Yeah, right,
in order to reach
yeah,
them.
let's be a fair.
Write this down if you can, because I want you guys to re-rate this. We become like the people we serve in order to reach them. And then we'll go through and read scores on that. Really? Well, it reinforces the point, right?
In order to reach
It's
them.
better to reinforce that point than actually see it, see pictures.
You gotta be careful about them become like the people.
Yeah, I think that word, that
The
as a
become-
phrase
yeah,
sounds a little.
I don't wanna think it's like.
We blend in
We
with the
live
people
like
we
the
serve.
people, no, that's not right.
Well, you're not gonna become prisoners, right? You're not like incarcerating yourself.
No.
But see, that's where the trust factor
That's
is,
part
I
of it.
think.
I think the concepts there,
Become
just
part of the
how
community
to
of
word
the
it
people we serve.
correctly
Sure.
matters.
But everyone knows
I don't know.
everyone knows the kind of, what we're trying to say,
Right.
right? We can wordsmith a little bit.
Right.
Mike, would you change your answer on that? So you would become
Oh, I
a,
went all the way up.
2.
We become like the folks.
yeah, we're gonna go through, let's run through them real
We
quick again.
become like
back.
the people we
Yeah.
serve.
In order to, or just in like English?
In order to,
5-4.
I don't know.
5-5.
What are we on?
Yeah, which
We're doing number two again.
Ranking.
The one that we just
Outlet
did.
voters, trust me.
Become like the people we serve in order to reach them.
Yeah, you would that increase your score?
Yes.
To what?
4-3.
Whatever it was, I go higher. Yeah, I go higher.
4-3?
4-3.
I was high to begin with, so I'll stick with it.
5, what was your exclusivity?
4.
You really bumped it up.
And I was,
No, I think we heard it wrong. Go ahead. Kate, what
I'll say 3-3.
I'm 4-4.
4-4.
4-3.
So 4-4, I did want to say real quickly that I think the quote said, "Be shepherds with the smell of your sheep." So I was trying to say something along that same line.
I'm also 4-4.
All right. So this one, this next one, number 11, is probably going to require a little bit of context, I think, but I think there's something pretty strong behind it. We follow through on what we say we're going to do. So making a slight adjustment.
Can we turn the heat on, thank you?
Yeah, was it, I was wondering if it was a heat or we were just
I didn't know if that was intentional. Yeah, we're all getting really fired up now. Having to voice your opinions.
Oh, no, this is considered the
It's
sound.
off. It's just you.
Everybody's breathing, everybody's there.
I'm feeling it.
Is it?
I'm ready to open the door or something.
All right, we follow through on what we say we're going to do for prayer, missionary works, et cetera. You ready, Courtney? Mike?
You can try opening that door.
4-2.
Where are we at?
We're at number 11.
We
We
followed
followed
through.
through. Cindy.
I did 5-3.
5-4.
4-3.
Yeah, I got, yeah, 5-5.
Is that all?
Well,
Oh, I just gave you both the top.
I thought we'd read too much into it.
8.
5-3.
3-4.
4-1.
4-3. 2-2.
4-3.
So, did you have 4-1, is that right? Not very exclusive.
Right.
You feel like other organizations would say the same thing, or do you feel like?
I feel like everybody has to say that thing. What they do or not is kind of credibility out of the picture here. It's just to tell these for absolute truths.
How do we create that credibility, and not make it up, but how do we create it in the minds of the donor?
The evidential stuff that just shows that you've done that in the past and show even the follow-ups into that and show here who I did and look at all these great things that happened because you did and thank you and all that.
Maybe testimonials from actual donors that, I don't know.
So it needs third-party credibility.
And I agree with you on that one. It's perceived exclusivity, even if you know that you're the only one. If the donor looks at it, it's like, well, the evidence says that. That's not exclusive because.
Yeah. In talking with them, I remember some of the value prop interviews that we did, we had called a couple of donors and all of them had said, well, I know that they're gonna pray for me because they say they will.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just part of,
It's baked in, right?
yeah. I trust them. I kept thinking, like, I
It's a
trust
brand,
them.
right?
Yeah. And that, I'm not trying to convince the group, but like when I was taking that example, when I saw the missionary work, I thought, oh, you know, I wonder if you could build a case with the preponderance of evidence of what we do, which is, it's easy to do things when things are going good for you, but when things are really crummy to begin with, and then when you also have your colleagues killed off, and you still do what you say you're going to do, I thought, well, maybe there's a case to be made on that.
I wonder if you almost like find a way to make that statement. What if we have one that was about martyrdom? I know I wrote that word.
It was up.
The third one, up.
We added that in.
Right there, number 3.
It's
That's right,
cathartic.
martyrdom.
Because I wonder if you almost could strengthen that, this may be an evidential of that, by saying like, despite, in the face of martyrdom, we follow through on martyrdom or whatever opposition you might. There's something powerful that I think for donors. When people feel like you're doing something despite being oppressed. If you're doing it and it's easy, great, it's getting done. If you're doing it in the face of oppression, it's like, oh, these people are serious. So maybe there's a way to add into that wording, just an evidential about the martyrdom piece. And like we said, what we'll do with these is once we get them ranked, we'll create. We'll send you the documents. You can see how they sussed out based on aggregate score, and then we'll create the value proposition argument where we can start to put in some of those evidentials, kind of weave the evidentials together.
If you put that phrase, if you want to re-vote, I would change mine.
Should we?
Yeah.
So if we said we follow through on what we're going to do,
Even in the face of
even in the face of persecution and opposition,
On martyrdom.
or martyrdom.
Dennis, what would you change this to?
So I think I'd go 5-5.
That's a big chunk, yeah.
Join the kin club.
Anyone else want to change theirs?
Part of me sees it 2 ways as well. When we say we'll follow through, does that mean that we're actually succeeding in Zambia, or does that mean that we are sending your first forward like we said we were going to do, like we said we were going to do?
Yes.
That's, I think,
Yeah, it's, everything we
Yes.
say in our appeals is factual, reality, and it happens.
Measure of integrity, right?
Yeah, right.
Anybody else changing scores based on that?
One or two high, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
All right. Next up, this is kind of a tricky one. We'll have to play with this a little bit, but I want to see how everyone scores initially. We give premiums.
10-10.
That's actually on his paper.
Good Lord. We can
Bye,
edit
Q.
that out.
4-3.
4-3.
2-3. 3-2.
2-1.
3-2.
3-2.
3-1.
3-1.
2-4.
4-4.
I think there's just kind of 2 camps on this. But I think there is there's kind of a cause and effect to it as well. Like there's some people that is why they give. It's not their fault. It's the fact that outlets have created that.
Right.
Right, but then there's also, if someone is new, they might actually give to get something, right? So.
I think it's a perceived who we want as who we think is our ideal donor. So you know what I mean? I think we're
Right.
answering it on.
There might be 2 groups of, 2 segments
We
of.
can have 2
Yeah.
different kinds of.
But I'm voting on
There's a
what
lot of
I
differences.
think.
Gotcha, yeah.
But this might be an evidential of like number 1, like how you create a good donor experience. Like you minister, the donors get to participate in the ministry in some way too.
Yeah, 'cause I think everybody wants to get something out of donating, whether it's just feel good or you want an actual item, so it's,
Yeah, there should be something for the zone.
yeah,
I think that's,
whether
I mean,
it's physical or not.
as we look at increasing lifetime value. and
Well, this
average
goes
gift,
to the physical,
Right.
but you're wanting to receive something physical.
I know, I'm just bringing that up.
But as we go towards that, I mean, one of our goals would be like, how do we develop, non-premium relationships with
Right.
donors who are
Right.
premium-based donors?
Because, then it becomes transactional. It's
Yeah.
not about giving the help.
I want to test,
Well, I
actually
think-
leaning into that and saying it.
I think the appeal's there for some people and for not, that's why I didn't agree, but it's specifically at everybody offers
Most of them.
stuff, so. I mean,
I agree with Mike. What is it? I want to challenge the exclusivity of
Right.
our organization versus
Yeah.
others.
Sure, there's plenty of them that do and that don't, yeah. And exclusivity may not be a dominating factor there.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be interesting to run some sort of test appeal to people
But we
who are
do have an
previously.
exclusive niche there, though. And I think that's probably where Michelle's going first. I think, you have an exclusive,
I mean, nobody does premiums like we do.
yeah. I mean, everybody, there's a lot of people that do them, but we're.
Why do you want to That's right. Should be, I mean, I'm not, where I struggle is that good or not? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's not only us, but it's the oblates too. And most oblates don't like it.
You asked who our donor is, that is our donor.
I'm always
And
curious.
that's the problem.
Kevin, we should
Yeah.
send
That's who our donor.
And even some things we get money out of, they take.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
But we
I'd
used
like to
to
see that test.
a project of the year that had no premiums, and it was dropped 10 years ago, so it didn't make any money.
Well, I think it'd be interesting, Kevin, I'd love to do a test that's like, actually says it. Like, sometimes you've given a gift and received something. This time, I'm gonna tell you straight up, you aren't gonna receive anything, but there is someone who is gonna receive someone, they live in,
Right.
right?
Now, see,
Like-
it's all in the messaging,
Yeah, lean
and
into
that
it.
makes a difference.
Yeah. Cause like you're saying, it's
That
clarity.
appeals to me.
I think what we find is, what we find in the research, you'll see this all throughout the research library, if you guys get to read those experiments, is that, like, the more that sometimes we as fundraisers try to like dance around something or, make it just realize there's not something there for them, it's actually confusing. Like when you can actually be really clear and direct about it, people might not give, and that's okay. Most people won't do any appeal, right? But people who understand it, at least will know. They're kind of coming. We bring them to the crossroads, right? That's fine. It's like it's okay. It's not for everybody. But if you want to give something this time and not receive anything, but let someone else receive all of the benefit, this is your opportunity.
Well, we had
Well, it had to do with the value
we had
proposition.
good success
I
with
mean, if you don't have a very good value
birthday
proposition,
Yeah,
parties.
and if you don't
then
get premium,
the
but.
only reason to give is for getting something.
Yeah, we ran something that said, no gift for you inside, but everything for him. It was like a little poor kid or something. I can't remember if it worked or not.
How long ago
Clearly
was
it
that?
didn't
Was that
work.
like 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Because our donors are
15.
kind of changing over the years.
Yeah, our donors still buy rosaries.
I know, but you're trying to get other donors, younger donors. It's been 10 years, so you may get, I mean, it's not 3 years ago, it's 10 years ago.
Or you're gonna change the way they think over time. And
Yeah.
You can't just put it out there once.
And be like, well, it didn't work 10 years ago, so it's not gonna
So
work
we
today.
just
You don't
had
know
an
that.
appeal that worked really well without premiums, and that was Father Madigan's birthday with it. They sent a birthday card to Father Madigan, they loved that. For a little appeal, it did really well.
I think society's changing in general too. I mean, look at Tom's. Tom's product is a perfect example of where people are spending extra money on a pair of shoes because they know a child is going to get a pair of shoes at the same time, and that's their marketing. I just think that that's what people are expecting nowadays.
I think you just hit on something there too. I think this is actually a three-way test of no premium. What does that get? Value proposition with, by the way, you also get the gift versus leading with getting the gift. And by the way, we do these other things. Because my gut says value proposition with the gift. So you're getting something, but you're doing it for a different reason. We'll get higher average gift and probably the same conversion rate as just for leading with a premium.
Well, Kevin, the fourth part of that is, what if you're giving a gift and we're also gonna give another one of these to somebody else too, if you give it a higher level? And right, there's an upgrade, you're like, we're gonna give you a rosary and we're gonna distribute a rosary to
So
somebody.
we've done that before.
We've done a similar thing, yeah.
Interesting, okay.
Heck with
Yeah, I
it.
think all that is the way we're gonna evolve. We can't just stop doing.
Right, you have to
things.
move
Now have
your donors
identified
in that
people who
direction.
are willing to give. I think that's all right.
I think one thing that I would judge that we don't do enough is that, say you get a premium, you want that rosary, you donate for the rosary. We don't really portray, yes, you're paying for this rosary, but your money's also doing X, Y, Z.
Absolutely.
And we're just focusing on, oh, you're buying a rosary, that's all you're buying, but it should be like, hey, I'm getting a rosary, but I'm also, like you said with the boots thing, you get a pair of shoes, but we're also doing good stuff with money, and I don't think we emphasize that
Well,
really much.
we do somewhat in our thank you letters. We
Okay.
mention, every thank you letter tells
I mean, if
about
you're gonna try to
mission.
entice somebody to donate in the first place,
Mhm.
I don't,
Yeah.
that
We
may,
do it
that
after
may,
the fact.
yeah, maybe you could do it both before and after.
We also, I think, have to convince people, not in this room, but in this building, that we can't just always drop, to save a penny, drop the mission pages. And, like the thank you letters are now only about one paragraph about the missions, where there used to be 4 paragraphs.
Right,
I mean, the first thing we drop is the mission stuff,
right,
so.
yeah.
because that's, you don't have to have that in the message and stuff, you have to have all the other stuff, so.
Let's move on. This is all a great conversation. I think we're getting too far ahead of ourselves because we want to get back to this value proposition so we have a reason to test that. The oblates work to better economic, physical realities as well as so the combination of doing that in conjunction with meeting spiritual needs.
3-2, 5-2, 4-4.
4-3.
4-4.
2-2.
4-3.
4-3.
3-4.
3-3.
4-4.
3-4.
4-3.
Keep going, we got some ground to make up. Yeah. Number 14, we promote social justice.
3-2. What was that, 2-2, Vicki?
Yes. 4-2.
5-4.
5-3.
I think what we've seen there is a segment of people who that is high appeal to. We should be testing into that to understand who those folks are and what they kind of demographically look like, and as we start to try to grow that that path, if you will, of the donor mountain.
I think it's a generational thing. I think that's going to be very appealing to Gen X.
Yeah. I do too.
And then the key is trying to get them to appeal to them.
And there's a lot of
Wording
content too. You know, there's lots of content to be had.
Sure.
What kind of content?
Well, blogs, stories, it's almost news stuff,
Well, and I think
Yeah.
that's where
It was,
social media works to that advantage.
I think too that the word social justice,
Would you say what that means?
yeah, and it also has an instant weight to it, whether that's like a positive or negative thing of how people feel.
I also think if you didn't say social justice sometimes, but you actually broke out a little more specifically what that meant, there'd be people who might not think that they
Yeah,
are
align with it.
aligned with it, but then they actually do.
Right.
So there may be some messages
And
there.
that brings,
I think our time, social justice right now, that's a big thing throughout what we're going through with all the politics.
Let's move on. Oblates are one of the most widely impactful, both geographically and in the sort of areas of mission, most widely impactful Catholic missionary organizations.
3-2, 5-5.
4-3.
Again.
4-4.
4-4.
5-5.
Yes.
4-5.
5-4.
3-3.
3-4.
3-2.
4-4.
3-3.
So there's some a little bit of variation there. I think there was probably more high scores that resonated with some folks. Why? Diane, tell us why.
In a nutshell, that just kind of gave you the definition of an oblate. I don't know. And the Catholic part of it kind of made it more exclusive. So.
Great. We just spend more time on that. We advocate on behalf of the poor and abandoned in the U.S. and throughout the world.
3-2, 4-2.
4-3.
4-4.
4-2.
5-3.
5-5.
5-1.
5-5.
3-2.
4-2.
4-4.
3-2.
So Kate was sandwiched, she was the lonely 5-1 sandwiched between the two 5-5s. Can you tell me, I'd love to hear first from you, Kate, why such low exclusivity, and then from Bill and Sarah, why such high exclusivity? Because that seems, everyone seemed to think it was generally appealing, but there were a wide variance on exclusivity.
Well, it seems kind of like almost every charity or nonprofit advocates on the poor or people who need something or are abandoned, not just by family or church or whatever, but abandoned by people who can help them with their needs. I mean, that just seems to me like that's what every charity is. But to me, I mean, it's also very important. So, That's why you're talking.
I just think most other Catholic organizations are more focused on the given area, a certain place, where the oblates are just everywhere.
So throughout the world,
They're
it wasn't
really-
necessarily who they minister to, but throughout the world was the
Yeah,
pivotal
they're much-
factor for you there.
Much wider throughout the world.
Sarah, what was your thought?
Well, just from seeing the oblates and working with the oblates and being on missions, I just feel like they do what they say they're going to do, and they are advocates for the people that they work minister among.
Maybe what we need to develop some verbiage around, because I think it's something a lot of people feel, but we need to create ability for our donors to feel that, right? We need to find the words that express that. And it may be actually wrapped up in some things that we've touched on before. I think it's probably a kind of a survey.
How many countries are represented? 65? Third of the world?
How many countries are in the
60
world?
plus.
Three?
Another little item.
Yeah.
If you count the small.
And the oblates, the way they count countries is kind of funny too. Seriously, they do themselves harm because they'll call it one country and they're really in several.
Like the USSR, they still count as all those.
Oh, we see that fit the map.
If you look at major continents and regions are on everything.
Right.
If you look at
Right.
it, if that's how you mean it.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Bill brings up a point, I mean, in the sense of if you thought about it in terms of continents and regions, they're on every continent and region.
There you go. There we go. That's how it's including Antarctica.
Yeah, we'll ship a few down there if we have to.
Well, wasn't there was an oblate that was,
Yeah, there was one up in the Arctic.
yeah, in the Arctic.
And all that stuff, and I guess you could find somebody, on an iceberg down in
They're pretty crazy.
Antarctica.
Jim said he was gonna go there.
All right, let's keep going.
Well, I'll send it there.
Let's keep going. We're getting a little bit of time.
That's quotable.
We treat our donors like family and create personal relationships and co-missionaries.
5-3, 5-4.
5-4.
3-3.
3-2.
I'm feeling generous, 5-5.
4-4.
That's a points to give.
4-4.
4-4.
3-2.
3-2.
I'm gonna have to look at Ken. He's got an awful lot of 5-5.
I think like a strong list, we can talk a little bit about the placement of that. That may not be a front-end value proposition, but maybe one that we try to express, after someone becomes a donor.
Yeah, there's a certain ring to the co-missionary thing that is appealing.
Number 18, our order of priests provide a global network of prayer. We pray for you. 4.
3-4. 5-2.
5-3.
4-4. 4-4.
You had me with Global Network, 4-4.
4-5.
5-2.
5-5.
3-3.
No.
I did for the market.
So I think who had a 2 for exclusivity?
I did.
Kate and Diane. Why did y'all treat it or give it low exclusivity?
Or is there a way we could make it also?
Maybe, I just feel like probably everybody else says that they're doing that.
Yeah, it
But
just
as
seems
far
like
as
not
how
only
to-
Catholics, but a lot of other,
Right.
religious churches, Jewish, I mean, it seems like almost anybody of a religious faith that's, I don't know, that's just what popped in my head is that we're probably not the only ones praying.
What about the only ones praying all over the world?
Well, I was gonna say, maybe if we
Fourth and
focus
fourth.
on a certain country or a certain oblate,
Yeah.
he's praying for you specifically.
We just started adding verbiage,
If you
didn't
added
we?
the word novena, I'm sorry, Sarah, if you added the word novena prayers, I mean, I don't know that there's we do a lot of novena prayers, and that's exclusive to us.
Sure.
Multi-day
Well, order of
series.
priests is too, right? I mean, you might say that
I can say that whenever we send out an email and we tell people that we're going to pray for them, and that may be the only thing that we tell them in the whole email, that we get a very big response. So people really, people are way on.
But it's a very organized network of prayers that the Oblates have, and that's part of the benefits.
That was what y'all mentioned when we were going through it, is there's like time zones and things like that, so then people can pray through it.
And it's something that we talk about as a benefit to the Oblates.
And almost the current owners really respond to it.
And maybe that's, Kevin, maybe that's another one that's not tip of the spear, but maybe that's part of a welcome series, you know, it's like letting them know now that you are, well, obviously we're praying for the people that don't give to us as well, but you're part of a family, here's what being in that family means, right?
And that part of being what it means, some of the organizations from time to time will put those out on the web or allow the people to listen in and interact with it as well.
Just do like a prayer call or something like that.
Yes.
For a change.
Yes. Or they can listen into that series that's pre-recorded, or be part of the,
That's kind of a
leaving
cool
their
idea.
own in terms of the building out, because that's happening here sometime, but I know it's happening in San Antonio.